body. Knows how to make me want to fall and say on. Got something. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. How are you? External mic? I don't know. All right,
It sounds like you might be starting a sentence or have a thought in mind.
let's discuss the next question has two assertions. First, language acquisition takes place in an infant and a young child at a time when he or she is acquiring many other skills and knowledge about the world. Second assertion, language learning normally starts at a later stage when language performance has already become established and many other physical and mental processes of maturation are complete or nearing completion.
The first assertion is about language acquisition, which occurs during early childhood when kids are also learning other skills and knowledge. The second assertion refers to language learning, which typically starts later after a foundation in language performance and other developmental processes has already been established. In essence, language acquisition happens naturally and simultaneously with other developmental milestones. While language
Hey boy, I really wanna be with you, cause you're just my type. Ooh, na 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 na. Yes, continue with your explanation. You got cut off in the mid half midway. So the second assertion. Okay, so explain to me the second assertion. You've already explained the first one.
The second assertion states that language learning usually begins later, when foundational language skills are already in place and other developmental processes are mostly complete. This means that by the time someone starts formal language learning, they have already developed basic language abilities, and their physical and mental maturation processes are further along. In contrast to language acquisition, which is a more natural and early process, language learning often involves more deliberate instruction and occurs after a person has a solid grasp of language basics.
All right, let's move on to the next question. So, ठंडा मतलब कोका कोला, कोल्ड ड्रिंक means कोका कोला. अबे ठंडा मतलब कोका कोला is an example of semantic drift.
Semantic drift refers to the gradual change in the meaning of a word over time. If Conda originally meant something different but later came to be used to mean Coca-Cola, that change in meaning illustrates semantic drift. In your example, if Conda initially had one meaning and then shifted to mean Coca-Cola, this shift represents semantic drift.
So I want to know if I am, I want to know if metonymy and metonymy are two different mechanisms. So metonymy, metonymy, and metanomy, metonymy are two different things.
Actually, metonymy and metonymy are often confused because they sound similar. But there's a difference. Metonymy is a rhetorical device where something is referred to by the name of something closely associated with it, like using the White House to refer to the US president's administration. Metonymy is not a standard term in linguistics or rhetoric. It seems like it might be a typo or misunderstanding. So only metonymy is a recognized mechanism in language.
So can you spell it for me?
Sure. The term is spelled metonymy.
What is metaphor? Give me examples of metaphor.
A metaphor is a figure of speech where a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. It implies a comparison between two unlike things by stating that one is the other. For example, saying time is a thief suggests that time steals moments from our lives, even though time isn't literally a thief. Another example is the world is a stage, implying that life is like a theatrical performance.
The world is a stage. Moving on to the next one. The scholar who first introduced the term interlanguage (IL), it was, I believe, it was Larry Salinker. Now, now,
Actually, the scholar who introduced the term interlanguage was Larry Selinker. He coined this term in the 1970s to describe the evolving language system used by learners as they progress toward full proficiency in a second language.
can you tell me more about Larry Salinker and where his academic achievements and where does he belong to? What were his major contributions? In which years did he make those contributions? Um, yes, those something and also like a short description of the biography of Larry Salinker along with the other details that I just mentioned.
Larry Selinker is known for his work in second language acquisition and applied linguistics. His major contribution was the introduction of the term interlanguage in the 1970s. This concept describes the evolving language system that learners use as they progress towards proficiency in a second language, showing a mixture of their native language and the target language. Selinker's work focused on how learners create a personal linguistic system that changes over time. His research provided insights into the cognitive processes underlying language learning and the stages learners go through. He also contributed to understanding the role of errors in language learning. He published several influential papers and books in the field of applied linguistics and second language acquisition. His most notable work, the paper Interlanguage, published in 1972, laid the foundation for much of the research in the field. Selinker's contributions are essential for understanding the process of language acquisition and the challenges faced by language learners.
Okay, tell me about all of the descriptions about Larry Salinker, the additional descriptions that you gave me about Larry Salinker, all of the additional informations about the other options that are mentioned in the same question. That is Robert Lado, S. Pitt Corder, and Noam Chomsky.
Certainly. Here's a brief overview of Robert Lado, Stephen Corder, and Noam Chomsky. Robert Lado, major contributions. Known for his work on contrastive analysis, Lado's book Language Testing, 1961, and Linguistics Across Cultures, 1966, are seminal. He emphasized the role of contrastive analysis in predicting language learning difficulties. Description. Lado focused on comparing the structures of native and target languages to understand and predict language learning challenges. His work laid the groundwork for practical applications in language teaching and testing. Major contributions. Corder introduced the concept of error analysis in the early 1970s. His paper, The Significance of Learners' Errors, 1967, was influential in highlighting the importance of errors in understanding language acquisition. Description. Corder's research focused on how errors made by language learners provide insights into the learning process. He argued that errors are a natural part of learning and can inform teaching practices. Noam Chomsky, major contributions. Chomsky is renowned for his theory of generative grammar and the concept of universal grammar, introduced in his book Syntactic Structures, 1957. His ideas revolutionized linguistics, particularly through the development of the theory of transformational generative grammar. Description. Chomsky's work emphasizes the innate aspects of language and the cognitive structures underlying linguistic ability. His theories have significantly impacted fields beyond linguistics, including psychology and cognitive science.
And also political
Each scholar
science.
has made significant contributions to our understanding of language acquisition, learning, and structure, shaping various aspects of linguistics and applied linguistics.
Now, who proposed the monitor model? So, monitor model was proposed. So interlanguage was proposed by Larry Selinker, right? So, ILLS, interlanguage Larry Selinker, or EEL can also be
Yes,
an
that's right.
acronym.
Larry Selinker proposed the concept of interlanguage. The monitor model, on the other hand, was proposed by Stephen Krashen. Krashen introduced it in the 1970s as part of his theories on second language acquisition. The model includes 5 hypotheses: the acquisition learning hypothesis, the monitor hypothesis, the natural order hypothesis, the input hypothesis, and the effective filter hypothesis.
तेरे सिटी दे रेडियो ते कबरू दा ना चलदा ओ तेरे सिटी दे रेडियो ते
ये पंक्ति पंजाबी गाने तेरे सिटी दे रेडियो से है। गाने में ये पंक्ति आमतौर पर उन भावनाओं को व्यक्त करती है जब कोई व्यक्ति अपने शहर या घर की याद करता है। गाने के बोल भावनात्मक जुड़ाव और घर की याद दिलाते हैं।
ओ भोसड़ी के ये बैंचोद गाना भोसड़ी के दूसरा है यो रेडियो पे बज रहे हो बंदा फेमस हो गए बंदा फेमस हो गया अगर रेडियो पे चल गो गाना समझ आ रही बात तने बैंचोद ते अब आगे भोसड़ी के क्वेश्चन
आपका जो सवाल है उसमें एक गाने के संदर्भ में बोस्टी के बेंचोत जैसे इस्तेमाल किया गया है। हालांकि मैं आपको इस तरह की भाषा में मदद नहीं कर सकता। अगर आप गाने या किसी और चीज के बारे में जानकारी चाहते हैं तो कृपया किसी और तरीके से पूछें।
All right, the next question is any vocal activity in the larynx whose role is neither of initiation nor of articulation is generally termed as neither initiation nor articulation and is an activity in the larynx. So, neither initiation nor articulation, the answer is phonation. Can you explain why and how?
The term you're looking for is indeed phonation. Phonation refers to the process where the vocal cords in the larynx produce sound by vibrating as air passes through them, but it does not involve the initiation of the sound, which is handled by breathing, or its articulation, which involves shaping the sound using the mouth and tongue.
All right, moving on to the next question. Who belongs to the London School? Daniel Jones. Now, can you tell me what major contributions did Daniel Jones make and what years did he, attach them with the corresponding years in which those contributions were made, any books, or research papers, so anything, because I want to have a complete overview of what were the major works done by him, what were his major contributions. So list down most of the major contributions, significant ones.
Daniel Jones, a key figure in the London School of Phonetics, made several significant contributions. 1. An Outline of English Phonetics, 1918. This was one of Jones's seminal works, providing a comprehensive analysis of English phonetics. It set a new standard for phonetic description and analysis. 2. The Pronunciation of English, 1950. This book is another major contribution, offering an extensive description of English pronunciation and phonetics, emphasizing practical applications for teachers and linguists. Phonetic Transcription System. Jones developed the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, which remains a crucial tool for the precise representation of speech sounds across languages. 4. The Phoneme, Its Nature and Use, 1950. In this work, Jones explored the concept of the phoneme, its role in language, and its theoretical implications. Daniel Jones' work fundamentally shaped modern phonetics and phonology, providing tools and theories still in use today.
Now, what were the other major contributions done by the other authors other than Daniel Jones mentioned in the same question, like Louis Yemslev, and then N.S. Nikolai Sergei Trubetskoy, and then K.L. Pike. K.L. Pike was an American linguist. So tell me about all of them in detail. What were their major contributions, and align them with the corresponding years in which they were made.
Certainly. Here's an overview of the major contributions made by the other figures associated with the London School. 1. Louis Chelmslev, Prolegomena to a Theory of Language, 1943. This is Chelmslev's major work, where he outlined his theories on structural linguistics and developed the concept of glossomatics, a theoretical framework focusing on the structural aspects of language. Copenhagen School of Linguistics. Chelmslev was instrumental in establishing this school, which emphasized the structural nature of language and its underlying systems. 2. Nikolai Sergeyevich Trubetskoy, Principles of Phonology, 1939. Trubetskoy's seminal work laid the foundation for modern phonology. He introduced key concepts such as distinctive features and the phoneme as a theoretical construct. The nature of phonological systems. In this work, Trubetskoy explored the nature and structure of phonological systems, influencing subsequent phonological theory. 3L. Pike. The Intonation of American English, 1945. Pike contributed significantly to the study of prosody and intonation patterns in American English, offering detailed analysis and descriptions. Phonetics, a Critical Analysis, 1947. This work focused on the critical examination of phonetics as a field, including its methodologies and theoretical frameworks. Linguistic Method, An Introduction to Scientific Linguistics, 1953. In this book, Pike provided insights into scientific methods in linguistic research, shaping modern approaches to linguistic analysis. Each of these scholars made pivotal contributions that have greatly influenced the field of linguistics and phonetics.
The next question is, linguistic units which cannot be substituted for each other without a change in meaning can be referred to as. So they cannot be substituted without a change in meaning. They then must be not in free variation, not phonation, not contrast, not complementation. So maybe complementary distribution. But the correct answer is contrast. Please explain why and how, and exemplify, please.
Linguistic units that cannot be substituted for each other without altering the meaning are referred to as having contrast. Contrast occurs when different linguistic units are used in specific contexts, and each unit changes the meaning of an utterance. For example, consider the English words bat and pat. If you substitute bat with pat, the meaning of the word changes from a piece of sports equipment to a type of hit or a small creature. This illustrates contrast because the two units, words, are distinct and have different meanings in the same context. In contrast, complementary distribution refers to cases where two linguistic units appear in different contexts without overlapping and do not affect meaning, such as different allophones of a phoneme in distinct phonetic environments.
Now, cacuminal sound belongs to retroflex because it is produced with the tongue curled upwards. Spirant sound belongs to fricative. Why so?
It seems like you're mixing a couple of concepts. A cacuminal sound typically refers to a sound made with the tongue curled up, which can be retroflex, but it's more precise to use the term retroflex itself. Retroflex sounds are produced with the tongue curled back toward the roof of the mouth. A spirant sound is another term for a fricative sound. Fricatives are produced by forcing air through a narrow constriction, causing turbulence, which is a characteristic of sounds like S and F.
Can you exemplify, an example and the mechanism that underlies the production of that example?
Sure. For retroflex sounds, an example is the English sound, as in shoe. To produce this sound, the tongue curls back so the underside touches the roof of the mouth just behind the alveolar ridge. This positioning creates a narrow channel for the airflow, producing the characteristic fricative sound. For fricative sounds like the English F in fish, the mechanism involves placing the lower lip close to the upper teeth. Air is forced through this small gap, creating a turbulent airflow that makes the fricative sound.
Okay, now, Spirant, now moving on to the next question. Surd. Surd is a voiceless sound. Surd is associated with a voiceless sound. Please explain how and what underlies this mechanism of this production. Exemplify and exemplify and explain how what mechanism underlies this production.
It seems there might be a bit of confusion with surds since it's not a standard term in phonetics. However, if we consider the term voiceless and apply it to common phonetic concepts, a voiceless sound is produced without the vibration of the vocal cords. Instead, the sound is made by constricting the airflow through a specific part of the vocal tract. For example, in the voiceless sound S, as in C, the mechanism involves the following. 1. Place of articulation. The tongue is positioned close to the roof of the mouth near the alveolar ridge, but it does not touch it completely. 2. Manner of articulation. Air is pushed through the narrow gap created between the tongue and the roof of the mouth, causing friction. Voicing. The vocal cords remain apart, so there is no vibration. This creates a hissing sound characteristic of voiceless fricatives.
So here in the question it is mentioned that surd is associated with a voiceless sound. Surd, as in it is spelled as SURD.
I see what you're referring to. Surd is an old term used in phonetics to describe voiceless sounds. It's derived from Latin surdus, meaning deaf or mute. In phonetics, surd refers to sounds produced without vocal cord vibration. For example, the voiceless sounds like p and tk are called surd sounds. These sounds are produced by creating a constriction in the vocal tract and pushing air through it without vibrating the vocal cords.
Occlusive sounds are plosive sounds. Exemplify.
Plosive sounds are made by blocking the airflow and then releasing it suddenly. Examples include pa as in pat, as in tap, and ka as in cat. In each case, the airflow is stopped momentarily by the lips or the tongue against the roof of the mouth, then released, creating a burst of sound.
But explain what occlusive sound is. Occlusive, as in it is spelled as OCCLUSIVE, and this corresponds to the plosive sound.
Occlusive sounds, also known as plosive sounds, are produced by completely blocking the airflow in the vocal tract and then releasing it abruptly. The term occlusive comes from the Latin occludere, meaning to close. In these sounds, the airflow is stopped by the articulators, such as the lips for pen, or the tongue against the roof of the mouth for t, k, and. When the closure is released, it creates a burst of sound. So occlusive and plosive refer to the same type of sound production.
All right, moving on to the next one. A voiceless sound represented by a simple question mark at the right corner of the IPA chart is the glottal stop. Moving on to the next question. A sign like capital B with its vertical line extending further downwards is the voiceless dental fricative. Is the voiced bilabial fricative. I'm so sorry. It's the voiced bilabial fricative. Voiceless dental fricative is like together or ether or together has this voiced dental fricative sound. Uh, the D thing. The next is IPA, the voiceless of which is like H, but the vertical line cut horizontally. And for voiced, a question mark, the arc not right but left. So not this question mark, but this question mark. It's that's the voiced. The voiceless is an H, but it's a vertical line cut like this. So what do I have to explain? IPA, the voiceless of which is H with its vertical line cut horizontally, and voiced question mark, the arc not right but left. So, what is this? I don't know. It's not glottal stop. It's not voiced bilabial fricative. It's not. It's pharyngeal fricative. Okay. So, can you give me examples of this sound? Pharyngeal fricative.
The pharyngeal fricative is a sound produced by constricting the pharynx, the part of the throat behind the mouth and nasal cavity. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, the voiceless pharyngeal fricative is represented by the symbol an H with a horizontal line through it, and the voiced pharyngeal fricative is represented by a reversed apostrophe-like symbol. Examples of pharyngeal fricatives include 1. Voiceless pharyngeal fricative. This sound is found in Arabic, particularly in the word khalij, where it's pronounced like the k in Bach. 2. Voiced pharyngeal fricative. This sound is also present in Arabic, for example, in the word arabi, where it's pronounced as a guttural sound that's somewhat throaty. These sounds are less common in English, but are more prevalent in languages with a more extensive range of guttural sounds.
हम्म, दिखाना भी जरूरी है. Bosrike, could you not have put these words in the IPA for my better understanding? I know what kha is. Kha is K and H. I absolutely know about it. You should have put it into the IPA. But since you didn't, I don't give a damn. Anyways, moving on to the next question. Next question. Who proposed interlanguage? Interlanguage hypothesis. Interlanguage was indeed Larry Salinker. That's what I just discussed. ILS. ILLS. ILS is the best acronym, I think. Okay, moving on to the next question. So, who proposed contrastive analysis hypothesis? Contrastive analysis hypothesis was proposed by Robert Lado. Next, who belongs to the Prague School? K.L. Pike, no. N.S. Trubetsky, yes. No. Actually, Louis Yamslev, no, it's Trubetsky. Trubetsky belongs to the Prague School. Louis Yamslev belongs to the Copenhagen School.
It seems
You
like there might be some
and you need to
confusion
shut the
across
fuck up.
contributions.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, motherfucker. Nobody wants your suggestion right now. Next. Now, who belongs to the American school? K.L. Pike. To the Prague
Associated
school,
with
it's
attacking
Trubetsky.
not the Prague School. So in summary, Nikolai Trubetskoy and
I would like बकवास कर लिया फिर बंद हो गया भोसड़ी का ये बता सो टेल मी अबाउट लुई नो 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 टेल मी अबाउट Nikolai Sergeyevich Trubetsky and its his association with the Prague school.
हाँ बिल्कुल सही निकोलाई सर्जेविच तुरुबर्स्की प्राग स्कूल के प्रमुख सदस्यों में से एक थे उन्होंने ध्वनि विज्ञान और भाषा संरचना पर महत्वपूर्ण योगदान किया
Tell me more in detail. When did he join? What university did he was he associated with? What were his contributions to linguistics, and who were who influenced him? Uh, Tell me about these things.
Nikolai Sergeyevich Trubetskoy joined the Prague School in the 1920s. He was primarily associated with the University of Prague. Trubetskoy is best known for his foundational work in phonology, particularly his contributions to the field of distinctive feature theory. His most notable work, Principles of Phonology, published in 1939, outlined key ideas about phonological systems and how phonemes function within languages. Trubetskoy's theory emphasized the importance of phonemic contrasts and how these contrasts contribute to the structure of language. He was influenced by other prominent linguists of the time, including Ferdinand de Saussure, whose structuralist ideas helped shape Trubetskoy's approach to linguistic theory.
Copenhagen School, Louis Yamslev. Can you explain more on his association with the Copenhagen School? What were his major contributions, and who influenced Louis Yamslev? Since
Louis Hjelmslev was a central figure in the Copenhagen School of Linguistics. He joined the Copenhagen School in the early 1930s. Hjelmslev is known for his development of a theory called glossomatics, which was a structural approach to studying language. His major contributions include 1. Glossomatics. This theory focused on analyzing language structure in terms of its minimal units and their relationships, rather than just its surface forms. Hjelmslev aimed to describe the underlying principles of linguistic systems. 2. Theory of expression and content. Hjelmslev introduced a distinction between the expression, the form of language, and content, the meaning, emphasizing the importance of both in understanding language. 3. Functional approach. He viewed language as a system of signs, where each element has a function within the system, which helps explain how meaning is constructed. Hjelmslev was influenced by Ferdinand de Saussure's structuralism, which laid the groundwork for his own theories. Additionally, he engaged with the work of Russian formalists like Roman Jakobson, who was also associated with the Prague School.
Roman Jacobson is also associated with the Prague School.